because I never filmed any sort of introduction to this, I kind of just jumped straight in, which has led me to doing the classic YouTuber thing of, here's a photo booth introduction. So I thought I'd vlog my little trip to Paris that I took a couple of weeks ago and edit all the clips together. Hopefully you enjoy it. Thank you for watching. I actually woke up at 3 in the morning this day. I know it doesn't look like it, really doesn't look like it, but we first had to get the train into London because we were actually not flying, we were getting the Eurostar for the first time. So we pulled into London Waterloo first of all. It was a very long journey, and then the tube was disgusting as usual. What else do I expect from the London Underground? We made it through security. I actually did get stopped for making the little, what's it called? Metal detectors. I made the metal detectors beep. And we waited for about an hour before we actually got to go up and onto the train. And unfortunately for me, we had booked a carriage very far away from the actual bit that you come up in the station. So it was kind of a long trek. And then we departed from London. And I feel like no one talks about this enough, that on the Eurostar, whenever you try and walk, like I tried to walk to the cafe, it feels like you're in space. I don't know how else to describe it, but here we are finally arriving in France. These were the first looks I got of France. It felt like we spent 5 minutes in the tunnel for some reason. I feel like I wasn't in there very long. And then for the rest of the day, we basically just walked around. We didn't really do much on the first day, I can't lie. Very tired. But we did see the Eiffel Tower. We did go and see the Eiffel Tower because actually my hotel was about 7 minutes away, So here we are with day 2. Arguably the funnest day of the entire trip because we woke up and we left around 9 in the morning and we went straight to Eiffel Tower, joined the very, very, very long queue because we were not smart enough to buy tickets in advance. You should probably do that if you don't want to be stuck in queues, but I kept having an issue with all the monuments in Paris. I'm not sure why, that I just thought that they were going to be so much smaller. So going up the Eiffel Tower was kind of a shock to me at how high up we actually were and how small the surroundings looked compared to the Eiffel Tower. But this lift was actually very cool because it told you how fast you were going and how long was left of the journey, which was actually very helpful because I was not enjoying myself in this lift ride. You can probably imagine my ears were popping. My ears were popping like crazy, but the view was incredible, as you can tell by this. I think I might have enjoyed the lift more than I enjoyed walking around the cage at the top. I found the cage at the top really difficult because it just felt like you can fall out. I don't know why they trust the general public to do that. I saw so many people sticking their phones outside the cage. Why? I don't know. But the view of everything was amazing, and this building in front of the thing right here, I've forgotten what it's called, I'm very sorry, but that's actually where I stood later on to watch the Eiffel Tower twinkle and sparkle, which was, I think, my favourite thing. And so we were up the Eiffel Tower for about 3 hours, and then we went home for lunch and we walked along oh my goodness, I can't speak French if you couldn't tell, because we were slowly walking towards Notre Dame, which we'll see in a second, and also the Shakespeare and Company bookshop, which was my favourite thing of the entire trip. I can't believe I'm even saying that. It's a bookshop, but I think everyone knows the iconic tote bag, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, obviously there was no pictures inside this because it's like a museum, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then we just went back to the hotel for a little bit, but this was the view of the station right outside my hotel. It was beautiful. The London Underground could never. And pro tip, if you take the Metro 6, you can drive past the Eiffel Tower just like I did in that clip. And then here's up the Arc de Triomphe. I struggled with this as well because if you look here, look how big the Eiffel Tower looks. What do you mean? What do you actually mean that it's that big? But it was really fun to just watching the traffic go around and around, and oh, I'm filming with Eiffel Tower again. Who's surprised? Who's actually surprised? But yeah, it was very fun just watching all the little vehicles go round and round and round. And I think in this clip, actually, you can kind of see they start to get very blocked up. I wish the actual arc itself was quieter, because if you could hear the amount of honking that was going on in these clips, it was insane. And my little heart was thumping. I was getting really stressed for all these taxi drivers, because not only that, they're all driving black cars. It was like very difficult to actually tell what was kind of going on. And I can drive. I have my driver's license. I think if I drove in Paris, I would have a heart attack. Like, look how clumped up they're getting. Are we kidding? Are we actually kidding? Can someone like answer my question? Does Paris not have any traffic rules? Because I don't think anyone was listening to like the rules of the road, you know what I mean? Anyway, it was very pretty to watch the sunset as it went. I would have loved to have gone and seen the Eiffel Tower sparkle from the top of the Arc de Triomphe, but again, we did not book tickets in advance. Oh, I'm filming the traffic. Clearly that was more interesting than the actual view itself. But then, after we got down from the Arc de Triomphe, actually, it took a while to find the famous spot, but we did see the Eiffel Tower sparkle, and it was so pretty, and there were so many live musicians going on. It was one of my other favourite moments of the trip. Day 3 was the most tiring day by far. It was actually my idea to do it like this. I'm not sure why I did that. But first of all, it was about half an hour train ride to Versailles. And we walked around the entire palace. Actually, it's beautiful there. If you go to Paris, you absolutely have to take a day trip to Versailles. It's amazing. And what you're looking at right now is actually the Hall of Mirrors, which, fun fact, the Treaty of Versailles was actually signed here in 1919, which was Germany's reparations for the war. Hashtag just finished A-level history. Hashtag I'm terrified for results day. Anyone else in the same boat? But yes, we walked around the entire palace. We saw all the bedrooms, we went shopping, and then we went outside to the gardens. But by this point, my ankles wanted to fall off. We had hit 25k steps all the days so far. I was not feeling very good, so we took the train around the gardens, and it's a hop on hop off situation, but we didn't hop on or off. I couldn't actually move, so don't do things in the order that we did. But first of all, it stops at, I'm pretty sure this is the Grand Trianon. I'm not sure what that means, to be completely honest, but the train was very pretty, the buildings were all very pretty. I thoroughly enjoyed just like the gardens themselves. There were also horses as well. I didn't know there were any horses at Versailles, but they have lots of things dotted around the place. Like they had little boat things, not kayaks, like pedal boats, I think. And then this is the Petit Trianon. I'm not 100% sure. If anyone needs to correct me in the comments, please do. But this is where Marie Antoinette's private rooms were. Unfortunately, we did not get a tour around her private rooms, which is like the famous Marie Antoinette room that you see all the time on TikTok, or at least I've seen all the time on TikTok. I couldn't figure out how to book the tickets for that. So again, if anyone wants to let me know how I was supposed to have done that, please do, because I would love to go back and tour. But this is the entire side of the palace. The side, I know. Same thing with the Eiffel Tower. I did not realise how big the palace was. What do you mean that people just lived there? And what do you mean they were like starving and poor during, what is it, the French Revolution? I'm sorry, that's not my area of history. But the Versailles itself is a very, very pretty town. And I was a really bad YouTuber in the Louvre. Actually, this was the only clip I got. So I might insert the pictures I took of all the paintings, but it just felt rude to whip my camera out. A very short last day, and here we are again with that very, very pretty view of the Eiffel Tower and the metro. But yes, this was a very short day. We didn't really do a lot because it was a travel day home, but we did go to the Sacre-Cœur. again, why is everything so huge? Because the view from here is such a huge hill. Though, actually, we did skip the famous 300 stairs that you're supposed to go up. We just went the back way, and we went up about 20 stairs. So if you're going to the Sacre-Cœur, maybe try that out. They also have a lift, which I was in at the moment, that you can use your Metro card for. So I actually did not go up or down the 300 stairs once. But we did a lot of tourist shopping here. The tourist shops here were really good. They also had, if this is your jam, they had a rubber duck store. Unfortunately for me, the only one I liked was the Jaws one, and I think it was about €30, and I was a bit like, oh, no, not for a duck. But it was exactly like Versailles here, the Montmartre? I'm so sorry. It's a very pretty area, but I was getting very hangry by this point. It was about around lunchtime, and we could not find a vegan option anywhere, which is understandable. I don't expect anywhere to cater for me, but it was very difficult. I was getting very hungry. And then we visited the famous Wall of Love. And this was the last thing that we did actually in Paris before we boarded the Eurostar home, which was really sad. But we did walk around the station for a good couple of hours just looking at all the stores, because there's a big sale on in Paris everywhere we went. I think it's something that happens every year, I'm not entirely sure, but it was very depressing to leave, knowing we were leaving the heat wave that was Paris and going back to London, which was immediately raining. But these are the last couple of views. Oh, you can see my reflection in the window. That's a little bit humbling. But yeah, these were the last kind of looks of Paris before we went in the tunnel again, which was very scary. I didn't enjoy the tunnel. I feel like it's a rite of passage that everyone, when they're younger, they just think that the Eurotunnel is like an underwater tunnel with fish in it. I was very sad to find out that it wasn't. Also, it goes very fast. Like, this is us arriving back in London. Look how fast the train is going. You can't actually really even see the background of what's happening. All you really see is my hand. But yes, this was us pulling back into London. I think we came out of the tunnel and immediately spots of rain started hitting all the windows. So if that doesn't tell you what you need to know about England, I don't know what will. Immediately the weather was just very, very depressing. But yes, we brought back into London, and I'm going to insert a picture right here of what it looked like on the tube home, because I was struggling. I was so boxed in because I didn't know. I think it was one of the BST concerts in Hyde Park. I can't remember which one it was, but the tube was heaving. There was also a woman, for some reason, who had, I want to say, about 20 Labubus in her bag. And I don't know your views on Labubus. They're not my favourite thing in the world. It was an interesting sight, to say the least. I could have probably just nabbed one out the bag, to be fair, with how close we were all stood.